A while back, I visited a Swedish-American museum in Iowa, and I saw this peculiar instrument. Not much more than a long wooden box with a single string and a fretted fingerboard. A psalmodikon. For many small, rural churches and schools, organs and pianos would have been prohibitively expensive, and fiddles were far too rowdy for worship, so the psalmodikon was invented. Simple to make and play, either with a pick or a bow, the instrument could be used to keep the congregation on pitch, or as a music education tool. This was too compelling to pass up, so I'm going to try building my own. Keeping in mind its simple origins, I'm going to make this with whatever materials I already have on hand, so I won't be going out and buying proper fret wire or anything like that. I'll start by cutting the top and back from some 1/8" alder I found in my wood stash. There are some knots in it, but that shouldn't be a problem. I'm cutting them to about 5 inches wide on the table saw. They're 24 inches long, which will be the overall length of the instrument. I'm using walnut for the sides and ends, which I'll cut to 2.5 inches wide. I will add an additional piece on the inside face of one of them. This is where the tuning peg will go, so I want to have enough material for that to hold securely. Then I'll drill the hole for the tuner. For sound holes, I'm going to use the same kestrel shapes I made for my Aeolian harp. Come to think of it, my Aeolian harp and this have quite a bit of overlap, design-wise. I'll attach the templates to the outward-facing side and cut them out using the scroll saw. Once they're cut, I'll sand them with thin strips of sandpaper to soften the sharp edges. And just like that, the first phase of assembly can begin. No fancy joinery, just making a box with butt joints basically. I'll glue 3 sides to the back, let that dry, then glue on the last side. I'll also drill the pilot hole for the screw eye. This is where the string will be attached on the other end. Then I'll go around it with a flush trim bit to even things up. Now to work on the top. I have this walnut strip left over from my quilt project, and I think this will work perfectly for a fingerboard. I'll give it a good dose of sanding. To figure out the fret placement, StuMac has this fret calculator where you just type in your numbers and it tells you what to do. So I'll say 19 frets to give me an octave and a fifth, which should be plenty of notes, and the scale length will be 23 inches. And we get this table of fret spacing measurements. I'll mark them, measuring from the end of the board, where the edge of the nut will be, then double-check the fret-to-fret distances. I'm using both an old-fashioned ruler and a digital caliper. Once I have the lines marked, I know where I can add fret markers. To make them, I'll use the table saw to cut small notches at the 5th, 7th, 9th, and 12th frets, on the edge facing the player. I'm using a flat top blade so there's no little ridge left behind in the kerf. Then I'll glue in small pieces of spruce. Some trimming, some more sanding, and things are looking good. To make the frets, I'm going to use ash. This piece is splitting apart, so this should be a good use for some of it. We'll find out if it works or not. First, I'll run one edge through the table saw to cut a 45-degree angle. Then I'll put the blade back to 90 and cut off the very edge to create an angled strip that can be cut into frets. They don't come to a sharp point on the top, since that would get really thin and not be durable when a string is being pressed on it. To get one good point of contact with the string, I slightly rounded off the back edge of that top part. I ended up making smaller frets for the second octave. I feel like this approach is sort of a hybrid between modern metal frets and the sawtooth fingerboards you sometimes see on psalmodicons, where the fingerboard itself is cut to create the frets. Then those can be glued in place. As it turns out, the line from the marking knife stops the fret when it's slid up to it, so these might actually end up being pretty accurately positioned. Then I'll sand down the edges. With all that done, the extra fretboard can be cut off. And I'll round off the bridge end. Now I'll glue the entire fretboard to the top. I have a spacer clamped to one end that's the same thickness as the nut to keep the fretboard aligned in the right spot. And a small sound hole can be drilled into the top and sanded smooth. A quick signature and date, and the top gets glued on. Next, I'll go around it with a flush trim bit to take off the overhanging top. Then I'm putting a round over on all the edges. Then a final sanding around the sides. For the nut and bridge, I cut a few different shapes and sizes out of maple and walnut, so I'll see if any of these work when I string it up. To finish it, I'm using a wipe-on oil on the whole thing. With only one string, the hardware is pretty simple. A screw eye on one end, and a harp tuner on the other. I took a D string off an electric guitar, and the ball end allows for a quick and easy loop to secure it. I found that this walnut bridge seemed to work pretty well in terms of height and stability. Tune it up, and let's see how it sounds. First with a pick. I have to admit, I'm pretty surprised these wooden frets worked out so well. Intonation isn't perfect, but all things considered, I'd say it's pretty good. A psalmodicon isn't really something that would be played in a band, but just for the fun of it, here it is with some other instruments. I built my toggle harpa, I made a bow for it from an oak branch and horsehair, so I'll try that out on the single string. Well, my bowing could use some work, but that is neither here nor there. Lastly, it's a lot of fun to get a drone going and play a melody on top of that.